There we go. We are live. Good evening. Okay, good evening everyone. So, me here again. So it is our monthly little live chat dance surgery. It's the 13th of June 2022 and anyone that's been watching this channel for the last few months knows it's a very, very young channel. Good news is we've had about 10 new subscribers in the last month, which is fantastic. So thank you very much. I appreciate that as this is early days, unlikely that anyone's going to get on here live with me each week, but I have actually seen a really positive increase in the number of people being able to actually view this later on after I've done live broadcasts. So a little bit strange because I'm doing it live, no one to talk to, it's supposed to be a question and answer, it's supposed to be a dance surgery where we kind of interact, but obviously without anyone on live, that's a little bit strange, but never mind. So I'm going to just start with a little bit of news for this month. Let me stand a little bit closer, there we are. Okay, so news for this month. For those of you that join me in our in-person classes in Belfast, we have got a new class starting on the 27th of June at Dance Addiction Dance Studios, okay? So that's up on the east side of Belfast. We're going to launch a teens ballroom and Latin class. We don't normally do teens, but we're going to try and bring that in, get that up and running, experiment with that before the new term starts. Well, I mean, we'll be up and running over the summer and then before the new school term starts in September, and then hopefully we can build that class. So we're going to have teens ballroom and Latin, 5:30. We're going to have a solo salsa class at 6:45, and then we're going to have an intermediate Salsa partner work class from 8 o'clock until 9:30 on a Monday evening, and a bit of social dancing afterwards for half hour or so. So there's a lot going on, and that starts Monday the 27th of June at Dance Addiction in Belfast. And again, also for our Belfast dancers, I've had to write it down because there's so much to tell you. Starting hopefully a new ballroom evening on a Friday. Again, not a night that we normally do, but we've managed to find a beautiful church hall, absolutely fantastic. They're having a meeting this evening as we speak to hopefully approve our plans for the ballroom evening. So we'll start with the beginners and improvers class at 7 p.m. for the adults. That'll be a 90-minute class till 8:30. And then all those people can stay on and have a couple of hours of social dancing included in their class. And if you just want to come and social dance and you don't fancy doing the lesson, you can come between 8:30 and 10:30 in the evening, a couple of hours, just pay a small reduced fee and come and have your social dance. There'll be ballroom, Latin, salsa, jive, we'll put a bit of everything on. You can request whatever you want. We'll do some lineups. Do some sequence dancing and just throw everything in there, and it's going to be a Friday evening which is going to be great. It's a beautiful hall, they've got a full kitchen, tea, coffee facilities, we'll have soft drinks and what have you, but you can obviously bring your own if you would like to. So that's what's going on for our Belfast dancers. Now for our online dancers, okay, great. So for our online dancers, we got a slight change, and this is because of the new Belfast classes starting. I've been desperately trying to find the new venues. I've had to really fit in with what they've got available. I didn't have a choice. It was a case of as soon as I can find a venue, book that evening, and then I've had to rework the online schedule only slightly. So that means that from Thursday, the 30th of June, that's in a couple of weeks' time, the Monday evening intermediate salsa class that would be on the 27th, Monday the 27th, is going to have to move to Thursday the 30th of June, and the intermediate solo salsa class that's online on a Monday night, so it's later on tonight, a couple more weeks on the Monday, and then it's going to have to move to the Thursday. Why? Because I have to do that Belfast class, and it's the only way I could fit it into the schedule. So, solo salsa, improver, intermediate dancers, going into Thursday evenings from the 30th of June. Everything will be on the blog, everything will be posted out into an email to remind you, and everything's on the booking calendar. I've been updating that all today. Again, that now means that our YouTube live sessions are going to have to move to a Sunday night. Absolute chaos, I know, and I hate doing all this changing around, but it's all based on the halls and what I could or couldn't get in the halls. So the live YouTube beginners hour session and improvers practice session that we're running once a month at the moment. The next one is on the Sunday the 3rd of July, and then I will keep that on the first Sunday of the month. Hopefully no more changes. So free live classes on the YouTube. We've got the online via Zoom, which you can book in through my website. Yes, you do need to pay for those ones. Obviously, the once a month for YouTube is free. You just log on to YouTube and watch. But the other classes through Zoom, they're on through the website, okay? But don't forget, I've got those beautiful online video packages where you can pay an all-in fee per month to have all the recorded videos and to join in any of the Zoom classes. It starts from £10 a month for one particular dance style or channel, and then it goes up to £25 per month is the maximum. But if you do that, the maximum, I call it the full works. You literally get every single online Zoom class, every single video that I ever do, all into the video library. And also, if you are a local dancer, you can use your video online package to actually book in for some of my in-person classes if you happen to be local to me. Now, I know a few of you are local that do my videos. So guys, that's the kind of general news. As I say, everything will be posted out on the emails and on the blog and so on. Now, let's move into a little bit of music. So I can see I've got one viewer on live. If I know you, identify yourself in the chat. That would be fantastic to see that somebody is watching me. Okay, cool. I'm going to put a little track on. We're going to have a little movement. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about one of the videos I uploaded a couple of weeks ago into the YouTube channel about social dance etiquette. We're going to talk a little bit more about that, and I want to just kind of expand on that video, tell you a few more things. What should we start with? Let's start with a bit of swing. All right, let's just have a little bit of fun with a swing step. Step touch. Let's touch it behind. Swing your arms. So don't forget, questions, queries, comments in the chat. If you do get on this live in the next 40 minutes. And if you're watching this in the future, you can still leave a question, I'll find it. Charleston step. Little tap. Little run. Tap. Oh, I've got people. Beautiful. I'll come back to that in a second. Let's finish the song. I'm having fun. Tap it behind. Charleston step in the air. Now we've got the little swing, stomp and hop steps. Take it gentle. Now I'm going to tap that foot and change. 1, 2, 3 and change. To the front, side, behind and change. Now if you're steady on your feet, you can take it off the floor. Guys, don't forget we put this in our jive fit, all part of the rock and roll, the swing, the Lindy hop. We throw it all together. Step touch. Charleston step. Don't forget I'm restricted on the music I can use when we're on YouTube. We don't want to get our hands to the side. Little run. Whee! Charleston step. If you're brave enough, turn it back the room. One of the coffee tables. Okay, I can see I've got Anastasia, and you were with me in the Salsa fit class. Beautiful. Good evening. Thank you for joining me. To the side. Let's to actually see a friendly face via the electronic. I can see the little icon there with the friendly face. Cool. Right. Okay. So where were we? Now that we've moved and we're not freezing, so cold here today, middle of June, I've got a jumper on, went out there, needed 2 jumpers on, horrendous. So, a couple of weeks ago, I uploaded into the video channel, into the beginners dance tips section, I uploaded a little short video about dance etiquette, social dance etiquette, okay? So, just go and have a little look at that at some point afterwards when you've got some time. But I was talking a lot about how dance etiquette varies. It varies from town to town in a particular country. It varies from country to country, and it varies dramatically from one side of the world to the other. So there's a lot of variance between geographical locations and also between dance styles. So advice that you might get from me might only work where I am, or within the vicinity of the sort of classes that I teach, or, you know, where I am. We're in Belfast, which is part of the UK. Most of this would work in the UK, Ireland, and sort of some parts of Europe, but not everywhere. And I was saying it's really, really important to speak to your teacher or to speak to the event organiser when you get there, especially as a beginner, or someone that goes there regularly, and try and figure out what the etiquette is, because it's completely different everywhere, and dance style to dance style is very different. So I did a little video on that. Let's kind of move from the general idea of dance etiquette to how you can be polite and friendly and confident when you go to these dance events. So there's going to be the sort of general rules, right? The unwritten rules. That is the etiquette of that particular place. Do you ask someone to dance? Do you not? If you're a lady, can you ask the gents to dance? If you're a gent, are you always expected to ask the ladies to dance? How many dances can you have with one person before it doesn't seem appropriate? You know, if you're at a Salsa Bachata Kazumba night, can you ask for all 3 dances from one person? Should you ask 3 different people, and so on? Andrea's there as well. And obviously at tango, that's very different because they generally will ask for 3 dances in a row. So all of those dance styles have their own little thing. And again, from a little regional club where you've got 20 or 30 people that see each other every week and are very friendly and switch partners, you might go somewhere where it's a little bit less appropriate to do so. And I'm going to tell you a little story about that as we go on, about a dance conference that I went to and I was very disappointed in. I'll come back to that in a minute. But I wanted you to think about your confidence when you go to one of these events and you don't know roughly what you're supposed to be doing. You've got to get talking to someone, because you are going to make an idiot of yourself otherwise, okay? You don't want to do that, especially if you're a beginner. You don't want to be that person that everyone is looking at and saying, oh my God, what are they doing? Or they're creepy, they're asking that person to dance 3 times, right? That's really important that you don't get singled out. And a lot of teachers will say to you, just do your thing, don't worry, nobody's watching you, everyone else is just busy on the dance floor. Well, I'm going to say the opposite, okay? We can say that to people to make them feel better and to encourage them as beginners to get confident on the dance floor. But it's really not true. If you're near the edge of the dance floor and there's people sitting down talking, or there's people standing, they might be watching you, okay? I can't guarantee that everyone's ignoring you. Now, if there's a really, really fancy dancer just to the side of you and they're doing some fantastic dance and they look like they should be on a show, you know, on the stage on Broadway, and they're really showing off, then good chance they're getting watched and you're not. And if you're the beginner and you're not very confident and you're just about doing some dance steps in the corner and you're stumbling about, everyone's watching the really cool people that are doing this fantastic dance, probably. But if you're just at an average dance where everyone is just doing something very basic, nothing too crazy is happening, and you happen to be on the edge, then everyone can see you. And a lot of people don't feel confident to go into the middle of the dance floor because they think, well, that's where all the really cool people go. You know, once you're really confident, you'll go into the middle of the dance floor. But it's actually the opposite. If you're really uncomfortable with being watched and you've got a big dance floor and it's busy, take yourself into the middle of the dance floor, because then everybody else that's standing around the side lot harder to see where you are and what you're doing, and you can lose yourself in the middle. Yes, it might be busy, yes, it might be a bit warmer in there, but if you're on the outside of the dance floor, everyone can see you, okay? And people do watch you. I'm not going to say that they're going to judge you as such, but people do watch. Sometimes it's just to see what you can do. They might want to have a dance with you in a minute. It might be really positive. And you think, oh, that's great. Okay, that person looks like they're having a good time there. I'll go and ask them to dance in a minute when they're finished. So it can be positive, but at the same time, it can also be negative, because if you don't look good, or you're doing something that people find inappropriate or creepy or whatever, you might get singled out, and then everyone will be like, wow, okay, don't want to dance with that person, I'm going the other way, all right? So, you know, I'm going to be brutally honest. I am very brutally honest in my classes, as Andrea, who's just logged in there, will tell you, you know, I'm not going to let people make idiots of themselves, and if something doesn't look good, I will say to you it doesn't look good, which brings me on to moves. Okay, moves that you do in a social, especially if you're a beginner improver, and moves that you do in a show dance or on a dance display or something choreographed for a particular event or something. It's very, very different. Okay, social dancing is about a nice connection and a nice dance with a partner, and you both enjoying that dance and doing some nice moves and having a connection and maybe a little chat afterwards if that's appropriate. It might not be in your particular social. Remember, you've got to check that out. It might just be thank you very much for the dance and off you go, and you never talk to that person. But you know, some places it's okay to talk to that person, so figure that out first. But also, you don't want moves, and you don't want to try do moves if you're a leader that are inappropriate for a social dance. And I saw a really funny post on Facebook today. One of our connections, Andrea, you know him, Thomas on there, Thomas Chupa today. He actually, I don't really look at anything that people post on Facebook, but he had this little meme on there, and he was basically saying that the moves are sensual, but it doesn't mean that he wants to have relations with someone off the dance floor. So whilst some of our dances can be sensual, and there's body movement, and there's a great connection, we generally don't want to go and have an intimate relationship with that person just because we had a dance with them. Most of us have got partners, you know, personal partners. We might not bring them to the dance. You might not even know that someone's got a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. But generally we get on the dance floor for a nice dance and we say thank you very much, and we're not trying to sleep with anyone. Just put that out there. So that all comes back under the big umbrella of etiquette. Just because you've had a really good dance and a good connection, you might come off that floor feeling like you're on cloud 9, and it's beautiful. Wow, he was the greatest dancer. I've never had a dance like that. Oh my God, it was so great. Beautiful. But that's where it ends, okay? Because he's got 100 more people to dance with, and you were just one of 100. So we have to kind of try and remember that most of the time. So that's my little thing about some of this sort of social etiquette. It's hard to get your head around it in one particular place, in one particular dance style, in every type of place that you go to. But I went to a couple of years, well, pre-pandemic, so it must have been about 4 years ago, I went to the Varna Salsa Congress in Bulgaria. Paul and I go to, or we used to go to Bulgaria before the pandemic, and we know the area. So we went and we booked for the conference, and we thought that's great. We can combine our normal trip into Bulgaria to do some other stuff, have a few days, and then we could go to the Salsa conference. Well, let me tell you, it was the most unfriendly conference I've ever been to, and I would never ever go back there again, okay? Everyone was all about how they look, themselves. It was all about showing off completely on the dance floor, and it totally lacked connection. There was no connection that I could see in terms of people enjoying dancing with each other. It was all about who could do the best moves, and that was it, and just totally showing off. And the other thing was, if you weren't under the age of 40, extremely slim and good looking as a girl, and wearing very skimpy clothes, there was no way you were going to get a dance, okay? Absolutely no chance. I'm a teacher, I do dress up and make myself look presentable for those types of events. However, I couldn't get a dance, I struggled and struggled, and it was only because I bumped into someone that I knew, and then I asked a couple of teachers. So the teachers that I knew, a couple of other people that I knew, and I spotted them, and because I was with Paul I could get some dances. But other than that, I had no dances with anyone, not even people that I'd done some workshops with. Nobody wanted to dance, okay? I'm over the age of 40, and there is a thing out there, especially in Eastern Europe, which I found particularly unfriendly. So that was my experience. I'm not going to say that's going to happen everywhere, but it puts a black mark for me on going to anything in the sort of Eastern European side of things, because it is very visual, and you have to be all about the good looks, and you have to be young, and it's all about the skimpy clothes, and it is not about having a good dance with someone. So that's stuff that you kind of need to look into, and you need to figure out, and do talk to other people, get into some forums, get into some chat groups, have a look on Facebook, goodness knows whatever else. Ask, because if you're going to spend several £100s going to a dance event, then please make sure you've not wasted your money. You don't want to get there and find that there is no one going to dance with you. You're going to be up in your room by 11 o'clock at night. And that brings me back to an event that I went to a number of years ago. Now, this is a very interesting one. I used to live in Essex. The event's in London. It's a very, very long-standing running night. They've always done weekly classes, monthly socials, and then they have some big weekend events about 4 times a year. Very, very well-known promotion, very well-known people that promote this particular event, and the people that promote the event are lovely, absolutely fantastic. The event is beautifully run, the hotel is fantastic, it is absolutely great, normally. Again, I went to that event as a confident person who has no issue asking people to dance. I went down to the evening, the Friday, I stood right on the edge of the dance floor, as was everybody else, and I absolutely had to fight to try and get a dance. Now, I was stood there for about 2.5 hours. I tried to get dances. I made it really obvious I was standing there for a dance. I'm literally on the side of the dance floor, I'm ready to go, okay? I was trying to grab people. People were getting grabbed before they even got off the dance floor. I spent 2 hours, the first 2 hours, trying to get a dance. I got one dance in the end, after 2 hours, and I spent about another half hour trying to get another dance. So 2.5 hours later, one dance. Now, it's not a cheap event to go to. I thought, I'm going upstairs for a cup of tea. I'll come back down in a bit. And it was quite late at this point, and I thought, well, I'll come back down. But by this point, everyone was being very cliquey. Everyone was dancing in the groups that they know from their own local areas, and I was trying really hard to get dances, didn't happen. I thought, it's just the Friday night, it's the first night, bit of a nightmare, I'll put it down to as a one-off. I've been to so many hundreds of other events, you know, it's never normally been a problem. Saturday night, exactly the same problem. Exactly the same problem. So, very disappointing again, and this was a 3-night event. I actually didn't bother with the 3rd night. Paul wasn't there with me this time, this was a few years ago. I actually messaged Paul and said, I'm coming home, there's no point in me staying for the 3rd night, because that's 2 nights in a row where I couldn't even get a dance in the social, and you've paid all that money. So a lot of the time I think these big dance congresses, the big international ones, the ones that aren't so friendly, or the very, very big ones, they can be very cliquey, and people will not dance with you. And that's very disappointing. So I would stick as a beginner and improver to a lot of local regional ones where you can know people, you know them, you see them on a Wednesday, you see them on a Friday, you go to classes, you bump into them. They may not be very busy, they may not have loads of people, but I think it's really important because when you're a beginner and improver, you just want to practice, you just need to get up on the dance floor and get your confidence. And if you go around and you ask people to dance and they keep refusing you, well, you give up. Okay, I mean, I'm thick-skinned, it doesn't bother me, I know what the score is, you know, you've got to be a size 10, you've got to have your short skirt on, and you've got to be giving it everything to get a dance in some of those places. And if you don't look like that and you're getting a bit older, yeah, you're not going to get your dances, which means you need to go with people and know that there's a few of you gone in a group, because otherwise you're never going to get those dances. So that's what I was talking about. This whole social etiquette in the last video starts, and then there's all this other drama around it. So that's that. Questions, queries and problems, Anastasia or Andrea, stick a question in there if you want anything. I'm going to put another song on. That's my lecture about social dance etiquette, and I've expanded a little bit on the video that I did for the beginners. What else have I got in the playlist? We've got a little bit of cha-cha. Okay, let's do a cha-cha. Basic step. We just do these little dances here and there just so that I don't freeze to death. Otherwise I'll just be lecturing you for 40 minutes. Side basic. Forwards and back. Double front tap. Basic step. To the corners. Last one. Give me a little toe heel swivel. Basic step. And a right turn. I'm going to talk in a minute about how to try and get the most amount of dances at a social event, especially when it's not easy. Left turn. Again, right turn, left turn. Cha-cha-cha, left turn to finish. I forgot that one's really short. Don't forget we have to use the lovely promo music. So, I've gone on about how difficult it can be to get these good dances. Well, not even to get a good dance, just get a dance at some of these events. So how can you give yourself the best possible chance? Well, number one, like I said, you've got to look presentable, you've got to have done yourself up. I hate wearing makeup, I hate doing all that, but it has to be done for these events, otherwise you're not going to get a dance. So number one, tidy yourself up. Number two, this is for leaders and followers, make sure you do not smell of BO, right? It's easy when you're at an event to let your body odour run away. So I'm being brutally honest here, this is a live dance surgery, dance chat, if you're going to get it, brutal. We get sweaty at these events. Make sure that you've got your spare t-shirt, your deodorant, your baby wipes, whatever you need to make sure you can refresh yourself and take 2 or 3 sets of clothes. Now that applies to the girls as well. I always have a spare pair of leggings and a couple of evening tops with me in my bag and my spare dance shoes and so on. Yeah, Anastasia, you find yourself left standing waiting for dances. Absolutely, it is a nightmare. And it's not just you. This is happening to so many people that I talk to, it is happening to all the time. You'll get left waiting as a dancer if you're a beginner, all right? A lot of clubs do not promote as much as they should do dancing with beginners. As teachers, we should go and dance with the beginners and make them feel included and help them out. I then as a teacher should go to some of my improvers and say, please make sure you dance with the beginners, right? Don't forget the beginners, they're just getting started. Oh, bless you, you're young and pretty. You are very young and pretty, I know, but it's also a confidence thing. So, you're sitting at a table somewhere near the dance floor. Now, depending on the way the room is set out for a dance, can depend a lot on how much you get. Oh, Anastasia, I know, we all love dance and that's why we're here, and we hate being left out for dances. Absolutely, we all hate it. We want to be asked to dance. We want to feel like someone's happy to dance with us, okay? And I know Andrea's logged in there, and I hope she won't mind me saying this, but she went to an event in Poland not so long ago, and I think they went to a Kazumba club. They were going to another event, and they went the night before, her and her friends, and they went to a Kazumba club in Poland, and basically they didn't get asked to dance. Okay, so again, it can be very cliquey. So number one piece of advice, okay, the chairs and the tables, how are they arranged? Don't get me wrong, you need to put your stuff down somewhere, you maybe need to get your drink put down and put your bag down and your coat and whatever, and have somewhere where you're going back to throughout the night periodically to get your bag and whatever. But don't sit, okay? Absolutely do not sit, all right? If you are sat down, no one's going to come fighting across the tables and ask for you, unless it's someone that you really know and you really know them well. So if I'm out at one of my local events and I see people that come to my classes, I will make the effort to go and take them from behind the tables and get them to the dance floor. But it's not easy. The easiest thing, if you're a leader, which I generally am, I go up and I get the nearest girl who's standing on the edge of the dance floor, who looks like she's ready to dance. She's literally standing there and she could just be tapping her feet. She's smiling, she's kind of getting into the music, even though she's not dancing with anyone at that point. That's the first person I'm going to grab. Now, if there's two of you gone together, two ladies for example, and you're stood there, and yes, you might be on the edge of the dance floor, but you might be having a chat with your friend, and you're like this, chat, 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 and you're talking to your friend. The dance floor's here, but you're not looking like you're engaging with the dancing. You're busy talking to your friend. So if I walk up as a leader, and I walk past, right, 6 girls there, or those two, they look like they're right in that conversation, I'll give that a miss, and I'll move on to some girl that's standing on her own, all right? Because she's looking like she's ready to dance, okay? So this is important because the two people talking might think that they're ready to dance because they're stood on the edge of the dance floor, but trust me, they're not. You literally have to be standing like this, well, not necessarily doing your disco dance, but you have to be kind of ready and looking like you are available for that dance straight away, okay? Do not be hiding on the chairs. Do not make anything difficult for a leader to ask you to dance. Now, a little thing that I tried to sort of say to people years ago, if there's been a class before the actual event starts. Now, the class could be, you might be at a salsa event and they might have thrown in a free bachata class, or you might be at, a Jive event, and the main dancing is Jive, but they've thrown something else in at the beginning. It doesn't matter what that lesson is, and even if that lesson is a beginner's or an all levels or something that is a lot lower than what you would normally dance, do not skip the class, okay? If you're in that class for that hour before the social dancing starts, you've got a better opportunity of chatting to someone as you go around the class, chatting to a couple of the guys, even just letting them feel that you're a nice dancer, that you're not heavy on them, that you're not treading on their feet, that you're not stumbling backwards. So get involved in the class that comes just before the social, if there is one. That's important. I would often go to those classes, even once I was teaching, just so that I could mingle around the circle and get talking to people a little bit. So once the lesson is finished, it's less scary to get someone from the class that you just dance with in the class and get them up for the social dance, okay? Again, it is just really difficult to get those dances. The other reason it could be very, very difficult is when there's not a good balance of leaders to followers, okay? Now, traditionally that used to be guys and girls, all right? But nowadays there's a lot of people leading and following. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's always guys asking ladies, okay? Now we've got ladies leading, we've got guys leading guys, so there's a bit of a mixture now. But if we've got leaders and followers, and the people that are leading are outnumbered by the people that are following, you might have 30 leaders and you might have 60 followers all waiting for a dance. So that leader is going to be very, very busy, constantly asking someone to dance, back on the dance floor. Ask someone to dance, back on the dance floor. At some point they're going to need a little break, they're going to need to get a drink, go to the bathroom. Excuse me whilst I just get some water. That's me talking for too long. But that is important. What else can we do to get a dance? Let's see, we talked about making ourselves presentable. Smiling. Smiling helps, trying to get eye contact and smile to someone as they approach, especially if there's a lot of people stood alongside each other. And that's another thing. If you're a follower and there's maybe 6, 7 or 8 girls stood by the side of the dance floor doing this technique of standing, waiting and being ready, and looking like they're really engaging, excuse me, my nose is running now, sorry, hay fever's kicking in, you might be better off moving to another edge of the dance floor, somewhere over here. Don't be stood exactly where there's another 6 or 7 girls waiting for a dance, because again, you could then be waiting for someone to work their way around all of those people before they get to you. Okay, so that's another tactic. Is there a lot of girls or followers waiting for a dance? Yes, I might move somewhere else. Is there a particular place where people are coming off the dance floor in a particular direction? So if there's a lot of leaders, I don't know, maybe there's an exit to fresh air, maybe there's a fire exit to outside, maybe there's a bar in a particular direction, maybe the cloakrooms or the bathrooms are in a particular place. Try and look at where the room is, okay? Is there a flow of leaders going off and on the floor in a particular place? And if there is, get yourself over there, because they're going to be off and on, off and on. Oh, are you free? Can I have a dance? And this is where the confidence comes in about having to ask someone to dance, which is only appropriate if you're in a place where it's acceptable for followers to ask a leader to dance. And I can't tell you every single place that is going to be acceptable. Some places it's perfectly acceptable. Okay, local regional clubs where everyone knows everyone, or small friendly local clubs. Certain places it is frowned upon when the followers ask a leader to dance, but that's why you need to get talking to other people. Is it happening? Are other girls asking people to dance? And if you see that's all okay, then give it a go. And it's scary, I'm not going to say it's not, but ask someone to dance that's been in the class earlier before the event, if there was a class earlier. Okay? Right. Question in the comments if there's anything else you want me to answer, if there's anything else that's particularly, oh excuse me, is there anything that's particularly happened at one of the events that's knocked your confidence? Is there something that has given you that sort of moment where you're like, my God, I just want to go home now, I've given up, okay? Because I know it's happened to us all. It's happened to me, I've done it. Mine's been more at these 3-day weekenders. I must admit, when I've gone to a more local regional club, especially when I lived in England, a couple of 100 dancers would be going out on a Friday night, what I call a nice regional club where people come from sort of all that local area, come within an hour's drive of that place. They're a regular weekly night or monthly night, they tend to be more friendly. The 3-day festivals can be really, really unfriendly, definitely. I'm going to put a salsa song on. Anastasia, you said that you've been to my salsa fit class. So let's see if we put a little salsa song on. And if there's no further questions, we've kind of covered the etiquette, kind of covered how to try and get a dance and try not to be left on the side of the dance floor, but it's very tough, it really is. Andrea has a very good method. Now, what she does is she asks her teacher, oh thanks Anastasia, that's lovely. Andrea asks her teacher to come out to the event sometimes. And I can say that because she's done it to me, okay? So Andrea will sometimes message me and say, oh Adele, there's a such and such event on, wherever, this Friday. Do you feel like going, or whatever, okay? Now, as a teacher, I'm conscious of not always turning up to other people's events. Sometimes other teachers get a little bit fearful when they see teachers. It's not always acceptable for a teacher to go to other people's events. So I have to be conscious of that etiquette from a teacher's point of view. It's like a minefield, this is. So not only as a dancer, but as a teacher, I've been to places where teachers aren't allowed, where other teachers won't let other teachers into their events, and it's a nightmare. So first of all, I have to get over that. Is it going to be acceptable for me to come along? So I'll try and figure that out. But yeah, if you've kind of got friendly with people from your local club and you've got friendly with a couple of the teachers at your local club and then you see them somewhere out, that's always a good thing. They're your teacher. You're paying them good money every week to go to their classes and to do their classes. So they should really dance with you, okay? So if I'm out and about and I'm at a function and I see people at that dance function that normally come to my classes, they are the first people that I will dance with. And they are the first people, if they ask me to dance before I've had a chance to ask them to dance, I would do my dancing with them, okay? They're my priority, they're my customers, they're my dance students, they're paying me every week, they're giving me money. So my priority in an event that's local where I see people that I dance with, or sorry, that I teach, my priority is them, okay? Yes, if I've danced with all of them and everyone else has, you know, had a good dance, then great. I'll dance with anyone. I'll dance with anyone that asks me. That is not an issue. But I do feel it's more important for me to help dance with all the people that come and support my classes, and I'll always do that. I would never turn someone else down for a dance. If someone grabs me quickly and they're not one of my students, of course I'll dance with them. But if I look around the room and I see 10 of my students all sitting there with a, you know, they're not looking very happy and they haven't got a dance partner for a dance, I will try and get them up. And I know that some of the other teachers that I would teach with at other events are very good at doing that. There's some teachers which I could name very clearly that will do that. You feel shy about asking boys for a dance? Yeah, absolutely, right? It is really scary asking someone for a dance, unless they are someone you know. If you just ask of a night someone that you've never seen before in a class and you don't know them, it is super, super scary. I would try getting over that by asking people that you've seen somewhere else before in a class, someone that you recognise, and that means going to a class before an event, the early class, or trying to get involved in a circle dance, in a rueda if it's a salsa dance. You need to have found a friendly face somewhere. You don't need to know them, but you kind of like need to be able to think, oh yeah, that's that guy, I saw him in that class on Tuesday. That's cool, he's a bit of a friendly face. I might ask him. All right, so that's where I would start. I would not start asking some completely random stranger that I have never seen before, okay? And I've been stood there in London, having a drink, totally minding my own business, and I have watched a guy ask 5 or 6 girls in a row that are all standing on the side of the dance floor, so they're all giving that good signal that they want to be danced with. And this guy's come along and he's asked one and she said no. Asked the next one, she said no. He's asked the next one, she said no. By the time he's on about the 5th or the 6th girl saying no to him, he's given up, and I've seen him just walk off and go to the toilets. You know, because what's the point? If he keeps asking girls to dance and nobody will dance with him, why? Because he was probably a beginner improver, he probably wasn't at a high level, and those girls were very good dancers, but they just refused to dance with him, which is really rude, okay? So, yeah. As a lady, Anastasia, it is much, much harder to think about asking a guy for a dance, okay? We still have these norms in some of our places where the guy does the asking, okay? So I'll be honest with you, that is part of it. The good leaders won't dance with someone that is not as good as them. Yeah, Anastasia, it's true. That can really happen. It's down to teachers and promoters of those events to try and encourage better dancers or more experienced dancers to dance with the less experienced dancers. Now, I used to teach in Essex, and there's a chap over there called Raimondo, and he would get, at the end of a class, there'd be 4 or 5 classes, and then they put the social music on. And at the end of the class, you'd have 4 or 5 different teachers, and we'd all teach little different groups, okay? And just at the end of the class, he used to say to us, everyone bring your group over. So I would have maybe beginners or improvers, another teacher's got their group, 4 or 5 groups, and we would do a big circle, and we'd have one salsa song on, and we'd all stand with the leaders facing into the circle, and we'd do a nice little basic, forwards and back, forwards and back. We'd do a couple of side basics, and then he'd say switch, and the ladies or the followers would move on to the next partner. So we're in a circle. The ladies are all inside the circle, the leaders are all on the outside of the circle, and we just moved one person, and you had to introduce yourself. You had to say hello, my name is Adele, nice to meet you, what's your name? Oh lovely, do a couple of basics, nothing crazy, and then off we go. And that meant that all the advanced dancers had to at least do a few bars of the dance with that particular beginner. Okay, it kind of breaks the ice a little bit, but it's the teachers. If you've got a regular teacher, Anastasia, that you go to on a regular basis, if you go to somewhere regular, I would try and get them for a little chat at some point and say to them, look, I really want to get on with this, I really want to do it, but I am struggling to get dances. Is there any way that you could do some kind of an icebreaker switching dance? And then what I used to do when I was DJing, I would take that one step further. I would say, right, everyone on the dance floor grab a partner. All right, and I wouldn't put the music on until everyone was stood on the dance floor. And if you didn't have a partner, because we had uneven numbers, I'd say even if you haven't got a partner, stand by the side of the floor, ready to go. And I wouldn't put the music on. And then I'd put the music on, give people a few bars, and I'd say, right, switch! And I'd turn the music off, I'd just cut it for a few seconds. And then everyone has to find a new partner, and then the music cuts back in. All right, now the teachers and the promoters and the DJs should be doing stuff like this, especially at more local events, to help beginners, improvers, and less experienced people get a dance. Otherwise, you're not going to get a dance. So, Anastasia, it is a big combination of things. You've got to be confident, you've got to be ready for that dance, you've got to get to know people in the classes, and maybe when you're hanging out near the bar, or you don't even have to drink alcohol. It's not about alcohol. I don't drink, but I literally sometimes I'd take a glass of Coke or a lemonade and I'd go and stand somewhere so that I can try and strike up a conversation with people, all right, on purpose. My feet are probably telling me, for goodness sake, go and sit down at the back and have a rest. You don't want to be standing there, but you have to force yourself. So there's those little things. And Anastasia, I'd say regionally, where do you normally dance? Tell me, where's your rough location? Are you in a big city? Are you in a small town? What country are you in? That's a good point. Are you in the UK? Tell me roughly where you are. I like this. I like this bit. Tell me roughly where you are, because that might give me an idea. Because the teachers, the more local teachers, the more regional teachers like me, not your big superstar, what I call godlike teachers. Oh, you're in Edinburgh. Oh, wow, cool. Well, okay, I'm going to put this delicately. Edinburgh's tough. Edinburgh's really tough. I'm not going to lie to you. Edinburgh's tough. Okay, it really is tough. Yeah. Okay, I can totally understand where you're coming from there. It can be clicky. It really can be. I tell you what I'll do. If you drop me a private message on my email address, let me make sure you've got that on here. Okay. I'll tell you why in a second. Right, hold on. Drop me a private message on the email address, or message me privately on Facebook, find me on Facebook, however, something like that, because I will give you a couple of places where you can try, and you should find that they're a bit more friendly. Now, why is Edinburgh really tough? There's a really good dance scene at a couple of the places in Edinburgh, and the quality of the teaching from a couple of the teachers up there is excellent, technically wise. You will get very good technique, you'll get very good classes. There is a big dance scene up there, and the level and the standard can be very good. Now, that doesn't help you when you're starting off and you're at the beginning, okay? Because you've got this massive mountain to climb, okay? And when those people go out and they're very cliquey and they've been seeing each other out at the dance events for the last few years, and oh, he's that great guy and he does all these cool moves, and she's that girl that wears the short skirt, a lot of that is going on. So yes, Edinburgh can be very, very tough. Now, a lot of the people where I am here go over every year to the Edinburgh Salsa Festival, okay, that's been run by Sagi for the last 15, 16 years. I know Sagi, he's a fabulous teacher, and his partner Marta, they are lovely, okay, fabulous. Their events are great, but that salsa event, again, can be very much like that. You've got groups of people, and I know it's only a once a year event, but you've got groups of people coming from the different locations, and they get very cliquey, and they end up only dancing with each other from the groups that they know, okay. Yes, Sagi is a fantastic dancer. Unfortunately, he's moving abroad, okay? He's given up all his Edinburgh stuff and he's moving abroad. But some of those events are very, very cliquey. And I've had a couple of my students come back, not this year because of the COVID, but just before that. They've gone to the Edinburgh Salsa Festival, gone to the Edinburgh Salsa Festival, and they've been completely disappointed because they couldn't get the social dances. They've loved all the workshops. They've been to all the great workshops and had some really good classes with all the fantastic teachers, but the social dancing of the evening couldn't get the dances, and very much so. And they felt it was very cliquey with people that knew each other. There's a lot of the big London crowds that come up from London and go up because there's a lot of the teachers who go up and teach there. And they know each other because they go to the London events and they know each other. So the first thing they do is dance with the first 20 people that they see and they know. So that won't be you unless you know them. It won't be me unless I know them. That's the problem. So that can happen at some of these events, and it has become at certain events where you see the same people each year going back, and they love the fact that they see the same people every year and they get together, but then if you're new, they won't know you, they won't know your face. So yes, that can be really, really cliquey. And the standard of dancing can be very, very good. And again, you stand there and you watch that standard of dancing and you think, oh my God, they are all really, really good. I don't dance like that. So the chances of you getting that dance, again, is really, really slim in those types of socials. Yeah, I know I've talked a lot about this now this evening. I do appreciate time's pushing on. I've got another class to start at 8 o'clock. So Anastasia, email me because there's a couple of places I could recommend and a couple of teachers. But some of these big cities are potentially like that because of that city atmosphere, and there's a lot more people there. When you push out further from the cities into a small town, you might have a much smaller group. I mean, we sometimes only have 20 or 30 people at our events, but because they're very friendly and they're local, everyone just asks everyone to dance, nobody cares, okay? And we've got people that are 16, 18, people that are up to age 80, and everyone just dances with everyone, and everyone's known each other for ages, but they would just dance with anyone because we're a lot more small community. So I wish you luck, and message me because I'll give you a couple of names of places to go to, but it's really, really tough. And you've got to just keep persevering with it. But my main thing is to get your face known. So you've got to get your dancing good, that's one thing, but you need to get into all the classes that you can when you've got the time or the money, and get your face known and be that friendly face that people start to recognise. Oh, I saw that girl, she was there last week. Oh, I saw her. Yeah, she was at that thing last month, all right? So that your face gets known and that you're there and you're thereabouts. And you're not sitting on the sides, and you're waiting by the side of the dance floor, and you're smiling, and you're good to go, and then there's a chance you might get a dance, all right? So it's very, very tough, but good luck, and thank you for joining me this evening. I love to see people online. That has been really brilliant, having a lovely chat with you. So good luck, private message me, and I'll see what I can do to help you out, and then we'll reconnect. Don't forget, this one is going to be moving to the third Thursday of the month, okay? So third Thursday of the month for these little live broadcast chats, and any questions in advance, that's fine, and I can keep giving you lots and lots of tips. Guys, thank you so much for joining me, and Andrea, I shall see you soon, hopefully in a class at some point, if not next weekend. Andrea and I are off to an event next week. There's about 5 of us supposed to be going. Unfortunately, there's a couple of people not going because they've had some family emergencies, but we're going to go to a dance event, and if no one will dance with us, we will just dance with each other. So we will hope for the best. Okay, I'll see you all soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. Bye.